The film opens at a police station, where a battered and bruised martial artist named Mu walks in and calmly tells two stunned officers that he accidentally killed someone in a fight. The fight happened in a combat ring, and even though it was unintentional, Mu confesses without hesitation and turns himself in, which lands him behind bars. 3 years later, Detective Lok arrives at a crime scene in a busy city, where she finds a dead boxer with a destroyed car nearby and a bag of contraband inside it. The forensic doctor confirms the victim has multiple injuries including broken ribs and a fractured skull, none of which were caused by the car crash. Someone with serious fighting skills went hand-to-hand with this man and killed him. Lok photographs a strange knife left at the scene. Back in prison, Mu has been a model inmate for 3 years without a single incident. Until a gang leader and his crew show up and try to push him around, Mu could take them all out easily, but he chooses to walk away peacefully and sit at another table. When news of the dead boxer breaks on television, Mu recognizes the name and immediately asks a guard to arrange a meeting with Detective Lok. The guard laughs him off, so Mu decides to handle it himself. He walks straight up to the gang leader and his crew and starts fighting them with terrifying precision. He drops all of them despite their numbers, and when the gang leader swings a chair at him, Mu dodges it, could easily deliver a killing blow, but deliberately punches him in the stomach instead. The prison guards rush in and arrest Mu, and it becomes clear this was his plan all along. The next day, the prison warden has no choice but to bring in Detective Lok, because Mu had been completely trouble-free for 3 years and then suddenly beat 17 inmates just to get her attention. Lok walks into the meeting room and Mu gets straight to the point. He tells her the dead boxer was his friend, and the way he was killed sends a very specific message if someone truly wanted him dead. They would have used a gun, but killing him with bare hands means the killer wants to prove something. Mu explains that the killer is following a martial arts code and wants to establish himself as the ultimate fighter, which means more people are going to die. He tells Lok he can help her identify the killer and find him. Lok is skeptical and thinks Mu just wants out of prison by any means. She starts to leave, but Mu stops her and recites 7 names, telling her one of them will be the next victim. Lok doesn't fully believe him but quietly asks her partner to look into the 7 names anyway. Meanwhile, the killer is shown sharpening his distinctive knife, the same one he leaves behind at every crime scene. He then writes down the name of his next target, a man named Tamio. Tamio currently works as a sculptor in a museum and is building a massive skeleton structure. But for 10 years before that, he was the best fighter in Asia. The killer, whose name is Yusao, arrives and introduces himself, telling Tamio he has come to fight him to the death. He throws a skull on the ground to provoke Tamio and get him to agree. Tamio notices that Yusao wears an unusually large shoe, and figures out that Yusao was born with a disability in his leg, but trained himself until he overcame it completely. They fight using only their legs, but Yusao is clearly the better man. He grabs Tamio's leg and snaps it, then kills him and walks away, back with Lok. She reviews the profiles of the 7 fighters Mu named and finds they are all completely different people now living in different cities and working ordinary jobs. She also learns that Mu used to run a martial arts school and trained many students, and that the police once hired him to train their own officers. When his school closed after he went to prison, Lok finds out that Tamio has just been murdered with the knife embedded in his shoulder. She realizes Mu was right all along and goes back to the prison to tell him. Mu isn't surprised. He tells her Tamio was beaten to death with legs, and that she needs to release him or more people will die. She agrees to let him out, but under 24-hour police surveillance. She gives him a phone to stay in contact and tells him his sentence could be reduced based on how cooperative he is. Mu explains to Lok that the killer is working through martial arts specialties one by one. The first victim was an expert in hand combat, the second in leg combat, which means the next target will be a wrestler. He asks her to go to a wrestler named Mong, but they arrive too late. Yusao has already found Mong and challenged him to a grappling match. Yusao dominates the fight completely, targeting pressure points and breaking bones before throwing Mong's body off a rooftop. When Lok and Mu arrive and find the knife planted in the body, Mu spots Yusao in the distance and immediately gives chase. He follows him into an alley and suddenly feels that Yusao is right behind him. Yusao strikes him from behind and then leaps to the next building. Mu can't bring himself to make the same jump and Yusao disappears. Frustrated, Mu slips away from police surveillance and travels to his old hometown of Fashion. He goes to see his wife Sing, and the moment she sees him after all these years, they hold each other without saying a word. Mu visits his old home and stands in front of a photo of his former teacher, filled with regret over the accident that sent him to prison. Sing gives him a bracelet and tells him she hopes it will help him control the power in his hands so he never finds himself in that situation again. Then Mu finds something unexpected among his belongings, Yusao's knife. Sing tells him a limping man came to her about a month ago and left the knife, asking her to give it to Mu. Mu realizes the knife is connected to the case and tells her they should visit the city historian in the morning to learn more about it. That night, Yusao sits alone by the ocean thinking about his late wife who suffered through cancer. He was the only person she ever truly accepted, and her loss has left him with nothing but rage and an obsession with becoming the greatest fighter alive. The next morning, Mu and Sing meet the historian, who tells them the symbol on the knife represents a bird called the Sanasu, historically given to the loser of a martial arts challenge. A man nearby overhears them and reveals that Yusao once challenged him to a fight 6 years ago, and when Yusao won he left the same knife behind. He confirms that Yusao was born with one leg longer than the other but trained obsessively until he turned his disability into a weapon. The man gives them Yusao's address. Mu calls Lok and tells her they have a lead. The police mobilize and head to Fashion. Lok wants to arrest Mu for running from surveillance, but Sing tells her Mu's only goal has always been to end this. Lok agrees to settle it after the case is closed. They all arrive at Yusao's home, but he isn't there. A neighbor tells them he kept entirely to himself and spent his days training and toughening his skin with sea salt to make his face capable of withstanding blows. Mu inspects the training equipment and sees that everything focused on the legs, confirming how Yusao transformed his weakness into his deadliest skill. On the wall they find writing where Yusao declares that with his wife gone, he has only one reason left to live: to defeat every great fighter and prove he is #1. Mu says goodbye to Sing and returns to police custody. Lok asks Sing to join their team so Mu can stay focused knowing she's safe. Mu reluctantly agrees. He tells them the next target is a man who was once a master swordsman but now works as a cook. They find him, and it turns out he and Mu are old friends. The cook stopped training years ago, after an arm injury, and has had nothing to do with fighting since. He tells them he handed his school over to his student, a young man named Yang. Mu immediately concludes that Yang is Yusao's next target. Yang now works as an actor. Yusao arrives at the film set and kills one of the crew members with a sword to send a message. Everyone panics and runs except Yang, who stays and faces him. Yusao tells him it's strange that someone with his skill chose to become an actor instead of a fighter, then challenges him to a sword duel. Yang accepts and they go at it hard. But Yusao overwhelms him, injures his leg, and no matter how many times Yang tries to cut him, it barely connects. Yusao lands multiple stabs and kills him, adding another name to his list. Lok and Mu learn what happened, and the pressure from above is mounting fast because every killing is making headlines and making the police look helpless. Lok promises her superiors she'll close the case within 3 days, but then something shifts. Mu has been hiding something. While he was still in prison, he received a letter from Yusao saying he was waiting for Mu to get out so he could challenge him. At the time, Mu didn't know who sent it, but now he understands that he was always meant to be Yusao's final target. The police analyze the sea salt Yusao used on his skin and trace it back to a specific source, which leads them to a house that belonged to Yusao's grandfather. They believe he's hiding there and raid the place, but he's already gone. They do find the ashes of his wife's cremated remains and realize he will come back for them. They set up a perimeter and wait. The next day, Yusao arrives by boat but immediately spots the guard dogs and understands it's a trap. He changes direction and disappears from view. The police are stunned. Then the surveillance footage from the prison arrives and Lok sees that Yusao visited Mu before the killings began. She draws her gun on Mu and accuses him of working with Yusao to kill the fighters and secure his own release. Mu disarms her in a split second, knocks out the officers around him, and escapes. At the same moment, Yusao is tearing through the Special Forces unit outside the house one by one with terrifying efficiency. Meanwhile, Sing has gone looking for Yusao alone. She finds him inside the house and offers him his wife's ashes in exchange for leaving Mu alone. Yusao thinks Mu will actually become stronger after losing someone he loves, and he turns her down. A fight breaks out between them and Sing holds her own because she is trained in martial arts herself. But Yusao eventually stabs both her hands with a sword and she goes down. Mu arrives seconds later and sees Sing on the floor. At that moment, Yusao grabs the ashes and runs. Mu bursts outside and tackles him into a boat, and they fight hand to hand on the water. The jar containing the ashes shatters. Yusao loses control for just a moment. They both fall into the water and Yusao fights off the officers and takes control of the boat. The police chase him and Yusao stabs an officer with his knife. Locke opens fire trying to stop him, but he dodges every shot before ramming the police boat. When the smoke clears, Yusao has escaped again. The ambulance takes Sing away and Mu contacts Locke over the radio and tells her the truth. Yusao came to see him in prison and told him he admired him and wanted to defeat every great fighter before coming for Mu as his final challenge. Locke is furious that he withheld this. Mu tells her that if he had told her everything from the start, she would never have needed him and never would have let him out. And he needed to get out to protect Sing. He tells her a flashback moment where Yusao warned him that if he didn't get out of prison, Sing would die. Mu tells Locke that either way his one goal has always been to stop Yusao for good. Then the police commander arrives and pulls Locke off the case entirely for failing to capture Yusao. A new detective takes over, and Locke is left standing on the sideline. Mu meanwhile sits with a photo of Sing and thinks about what Yusao once told him, that martial arts were created for killing. Mu thinks to himself that if he had killed Yusao when he had the chance, Sing would never have been hurt, and he makes his decision. Locke, working alone now, goes back to Yusao's house and peels the wallpaper to discover he had written the names of every fighter he intended to kill, which gives her the name of his next planned victim. But Yusao is already moving toward a truck driver, and before he reaches him, the truck stops and Mu steps out. Yusao smiles and tells Mu that since he didn't run him over, he must want to fight. Mu tells him if he kills him quickly it would be a mercy, but he plans to make him suffer. First, Yusao is delighted because this is the fight to the death he has always wanted. The truck driver calls Locke and gives her their location. The two fighters bow to each other and the battle begins in the middle of the road, perfectly matched, arguably the two greatest fighters alive, trading devastating blows without either one able to finish the other. Yusao switches to a tiger style and cuts Mu's face and shreds his clothes. But Mu shifts into wrestling mode and tries to slam him down, landing several powerful strikes. At one point, Yusao is nearly killed in an accident, but Mu saves him because he wants to be the one to finish it himself. They grab wooden staffs from the truck and beat each other with them until both staffs splinter and break. Then they go back to bare hands. Mu starts taking control, landing a devastating punch to Yusao's face. And Yusao suddenly drops his guard and tells Mu this is the fight he always dreamed of. And to go ahead and kill him to win, Mu freezes. He looks down at the bracelet Sing gave him and hears her voice asking him to control his hands and never repeat the mistake that sent him to prison. He decides not to kill him, but Yusao grabs Mu and drags them both toward a moving truck trying to kill them together. Mu breaks free and shoves Yusao out of the way to keep him from dying under the truck, but Mu gets caught on a second truck and is dragged across the road and knocked unconscious. Yusao stands over him and raises his knife, telling Mu that he is the strongest opponent he has ever faced, but martial arts were made for killing. Just before he strikes, Locke appears and shoots Yusao dead. Mu wakes up and sees the body. 3 months later, Mu is back in prison because his sentence hasn't fully expired, but the police decide to release him early as a reward for his role in the Yusao case. Mu returns to Foshan and reopens his martial arts school with Sing by his side, and together they pour everything they have into training the next generation of fighters.